video showing a priest torturing two Ghanaian women at his camp has sparked anger among authorities in the northeast region. The two women from Sakogu in the East Mampresi municipality were accused of being witches and forced to the camp to participate in a ritual test that will confirm or deny the allegations against them. The disturbing footage intercepted by JoyNews showed the priest strangling the two women with a broom before dragging their bodies on the floor to force them to confess. The attention of authorities was drawn to this video after a woman was banished from the Sakogu community following her refusal to go to the camp after her name was mentioned as an accomplice by one of the accused women. JoyNews has learned the case has been referred to the Mamprogu overlord, who has since ordered the immediate release of the woman from the camp. Correspondent Elias Tanko reports.
Innocence, and so must participate in the ritual test. The first woman is made to face the shrine while on her knees. The priest appears from her back with two brooms which he binds together across her neck and presses firmly and hardly until she's almost unconscious and forced to confess. Exact a confession from them by any means possible.
To have a conversation on this matter, joining me live is Professor John Azumar, the Executive Director of the Sane Institute, and I'm going to start with him. We also have Francis Xavier, who is the MP for Medina. But let me start with Mr. Azumar. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Good to be here. Thank you.
Now, I mean, you've seen the videos and they're extremely disturbing. Do you think the state is doing enough to halt this blot on our democracy?
Sadly, no. I think we need to be doing more, and we should be moving at a very, very fast pace. And unfortunately, we are not doing that. This is really a stain on the conscience of our nation in the 21st century. And something needs to be done, and done urgently. Education alone is not going to get rid of this evil, customary, and traditional practice that is gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And legislation is needed. And that is what I'm still praying for. And I thank God that we have people like Honorable Xavier and others who are working on this private members bill. We need to fast track it.
All right, talking about bills, you cared enough to draft a bill to make witchcraft accusation illegal. Why is this not receiving the attention it deserves nationally? Why do you think we're so slow in our pace?
Is that question to me or to Francis?
So I'm coming to you.
Yeah. So I think the reason why there's a slow space is, of course, Honorable is here. He will explain more about the process.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing also is lack of political will. And I have said this. If there's political will, this thing needs to be really taken seriously. We are in Parliament talking about many things all the time. These are important things. But this is a deadly issue. This is something that is taking lives of vulnerable, the most vulnerable in our society.
Yeah.
And we need to speed up and the process. So for me, it's a political will. Where there's a political will, this can be done and done very, very expeditiously.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to stay on the line for me. Let me go to MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu, who is spearheading a private member bill in Parliament to criminalize witchcraft accusation. Francis, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and a very good morning to your cherished viewers.
Now, let's talk about this. How far have you gone with the bill? What's the status? What's the update?
First of all, let me say that it's quite unfortunate to continue to have scenes like what you just showed this morning. It is because of this type of inhumane and dehumanizing treatment. That is the reason why we are pushing for this private members bill. But to add quickly that this bill has been an ongoing process. It was a work being done in the 7th Parliament, led by the Honorable Majority Leader himself and the Honorable Minority Leader, and then Honorable Ladi Ayamba, and one other before. Unfortunately, the bill never got passed in the last Parliament. And when we came to, when we were sworn into this 8th Parliament, because of the passion I had for the area, I had to go back and reorganize and if you like, reintroduce the bill for purposes of consideration. Let me say that these are processes. In the first place, when you introduce a private members bill, once it's been admitted by the Speaker of Parliament, it is referred to the drafting department that would put a draft together. As we speak now, we have a draft. We have the memorandum that is ready, and where we've reached now, it's important that we will get back to the site, the communities in which we record most of these cases, so that we can do stakeholders engagement. And we have planned a stakeholders engagement from the 4th to the 7th of March. And within this period, all the members of Parliament, myself, Dr. Godfred Seydou Jisa, and Honorable Ladi Ayanga, together with Professor Prof, who is speaking on the subject matter. Yeah, Professor Azumar, who is on the subject matter here. And we have others, Steve Jamina, and other people who are major stakeholders in this matter, who are all joining us on the field. In fact, I think multimedia is also is on the team, because we've seen that multimedia has also taken interest in stories in this area, so that we will all join in the stakeholder meeting, after which we believe that we can put finality to the draft and then put it before Parliament for consideration.
I mean, you seem visibly disturbed by the videos that we're playing. You just mentioned that we will have some stakeholder meetings and then hopefully we can have some action. But why is this taking so long? What would it take for Parliament to consider this bill with urgency?
I think that, bills that are taken under state of urgency and so on and so forth are bills that are introduced by government. Now, you know, government has a lot on its table, and sometimes in terms of priority, government may not necessarily be looking at these areas as priority areas for government. And so it will take private members who have interest in the area to rally support and rally support of others to make this happen. And I think that what we've started is the way to go. I am sure that after the stakeholders meeting, we should be able to have some urgency put in this, but it will come as part of advocacy. You know, bills or lawmaking are all national or public policy making, and agenda setting is a critical part of public what we call public policy process, and the work of media men like yourself. And when we get to the field, the kind of stories we are going to pick, both the videos and the insights we'll pick, the sharing of those insights, I'm sure is going to throw more light on the situation, and that could probably get the entire country coming together to move the state machinery to get this bill passed as soon as it is practicable.
All right, so I hear you. So we have a bill, and you're also suggesting that, you know, we go onto the ground and we talk to the people, we check out the situation. But let's go to the reality of things, because this bill might take a while. Like, let's go to the ground. What can we do on the ground right now, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow?
I think what we need to do now is to encourage the Ghana Police Service to increase surveillance in areas where these cases recur, because any form of attack on individual is a criminal offense, not even necessarily because of witchcraft accusation. The fact that this person is beaten and is tortured and is mistreated, these are criminal assaults. And these are cases that can be dealt with swiftly using the existing laws. So I would say that the police will have to be up and doing with arrest and prosecution of people who perpetrate this kind of violence on people in the name of witchcraft. You may not charge them under any law against witchcraft. However, you can charge them for criminal assault.
Mr. Azumar, I'm going to throw that question to you also. What can we do on the ground?
Thank you. And I agree with Honorable 100% that the media is very important. And I want to commend JoyNews for taking up this issue. You know, with politicians and like with any society, when the thing is out of view, it's out of mind. So out of sight, out of mind. So we need to keep this up. And I am so grateful that you are doing this. But to follow up on what Honorable said, I think that there are enough provisions for people to be charged. But if you rely on the victims to go and report, look at this poor woman. She will not go to the police. She cannot go to the police. The community will prevail on her. They will put pressure on her not to report this issue. The state must take these things up. This is something that the state should step up. And when these cases are reported, they are never prosecuted to the end. They put pressure on them to drop the cases. And all interference, even sometimes interference from lawmakers who will ask these victims to drop these cases. So I think everybody needs to be up, and the media have to keep the spotlight on this, interview the right people. I am glad you got Honorable here. Call the MP of the area where this is happening. Interview them, put them on the spot, hold their feet to the fire. This is how we have to go with the advocacy and the pressure.
Okay, talking about pressure, I'm going to come to you, Francis. The Gender Ministry has been extremely quiet on matters like this, and this is not the first time something like this is happening. Let's discuss that.
I think it's quite worrying, extremely worrying to have this level of very, very obvious absence of any form of either advocacy in the area by the Gender Ministry. And for me, it's very worrying because the core mandate of the Gender Ministry, which is the protection of children, women, and vulnerable people in the society, includes educating the society in respect of matters like this, and also providing victim support for areas like this. So in cases like this, once the media brings it out, I'm expecting that the Gender Ministry would, through the Department of Social Welfare, even lead the way to make reports in those communities, get officers of social welfare to do follow-ups, and let's see what kind of support we can provide the victims of such violations. But unfortunately, I think the Gender Ministry has been, loudly silent in this area, and for me, it calls for a lot of concern. And I definitely today, I'm going to file a parliamentary question asking the Gender Ministry or the Minister in charge of Gender, Children and Social Protection, what steps are being taken to deal with these matters and provide support for victims of such violations.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen. I had Professor John Azumar, who's the Executive Director of the Sani Institute, and also MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Sosu. And in conclusion, what matters the most for us to deal with this menace is boots on the ground and advocacy. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen.